Okay, let's start where we left off here. My axle and swing arm got here today. They're both made by DNA. I'll give you more information at the end of the video. This is the swing arm to attach the trike to it. There's some more attachments to it. As you can see, this thing is heavy duty steel all the way through. Very nice welds. And that's where it attaches to the bike. This is where the shock's attached to. I know there's going to be a lot of pressure on there. I'm kind of, well, yeah, they must be welded on there good enough, I'm guessing. And then in my truck, back of my truck, I just started unwrapping the axle. Now I got to tell you, this axle is very nicely done. It came in a big box with a steel frame around, and it's bolted to the steel frame to protect it. I'm really impressed with everything they went through to help protect this axle in getting here. The semi-truck just came by my house and dropped it off, and we both unloaded it. And it's heavy. I'm going to take it off of the steel frame while it's on my tailgate right now and be able to maneuver that axle just a little bit better. So here it is. I've got it outside the frame. Very well wrapped and stuff. The chrome looking brake caliper is in there. Everything's been bagged properly to where it's no rust at all. That's where the belt goes. I'm hoping I don't have to put a longer belt on. We'll see. I was told by somebody yes, and another person said no, so I'm going to just wait and see how that works. These are the attaching blocks here. It attaches the swing arm to it. So I guess from here I got to figure things out. I haven't run in any directions yet, so I'm going to look in the packing slip in different places like that, see if there is something like that. And if not, I'm going to take a look at it. Maybe I can figure it out myself, or I'll contact somebody and get a PDF file on it. See you in a little bit. So I opened a bag of bolts and figured out that this goes on here and has some movement and slots to be able to be fitted into the blocks that are attached to the axle. And that's how it attaches to it. That's cool. And it was kind of easy to figure out which bolts and stuff goes where, because there's a couple different sizes and they only go in one place. My problem is I got one leftover washer, I've got one missing bolt, and one missing lock nut. Now, after taking a closer look at the package, you can see that the package got torn open in shipment, and there was a slight cut in the box. So I'm guessing I lost that bolt and washer somewhere in shipping. Not extreme, no big deal. I'll just go down to the hardware store and pick up another one. It's bound to happen, I'm guessing. I think they could use a little bit better bag when they do that. But have you ever built anything out of a store that had a bag that really kept all the nuts and bolts decent in? I haven't. So that's where I am at this point. I think the next part is I'm going to have to remove the bearing from my swing arm, and I'm going to have to put it into the new swing arm right here before I can go any further. So I'll talk to you again in a little while. Okay, something you all need to know. There is one part I've found that does not come with it. I believe it was advertised that way. Whereas the swing arm bushing and bearing to the connecting thing does not come with it. So what I did was, see, my bike is an 04, but it doesn't have any miles on it. I tapped mine out, and what you do is you tap it from the inside out and you put the perfect size socket on it. And I put some liquid wrench on it and it popped right out. Both sides did. Then I used a little bit of emery paper and cleaned up the surfaces. Used a little bit more liquid wrench on it. Then I used that same socket and drove the new one in, or the other one in. You only do it as far as so it's level with the inside here. And if you did that right and you didn't mess anything up, it should be just fine. So that part of it's taken care of. Okay, let me update you of what I've been doing here. Had to put the belt on. So to do that, I had to separate the gearbox drum. You can see in here there's the cogged pulley for the belt. All the way around the outside there is these hex bolts. What you do is you take all those hex bolts out and then you separate it at the seam. Slips right out. Now, just to give you a heads up, be careful when handling these edges here and the ones on the pulley. They are very sharp. You can see here I've kind of dinged myself a few times, and so wear gloves on it if you can. It's going to make a difference. Now once you have it totally apart, you take that center part with the pulley off of there and you're going to see roller bearings on both sides. Now you're going to have to pack those roller bearings with high temperature grease. Take your time, make sure they're filled really well, use good grease. It's not that difficult. Then on the end of it, where the roller bearings are attached, inside of that drum is the gears. You also need to pack the gears full too. So on one end or the other, you just keep pushing gear grease down inside until it's packed all the way through. Now, slip the belt over it before you slip it together. Now I'm going to tell you, I did it by myself and I blocked it on both sides as level as I possibly could and slipped it together. Now there's splines in both parts of this axle that go through that gearbox. That's the hard part. They're very finely splines and you've got to get it just right to go together. Plus you have to match up the areas where the belt comes through. So like I said, I was the only one doing this, but I would suggest doing two people. I really did struggle with it, but I got it together okay. Then after I bolted it all together, if you see here, there's a grease zerk here and another one over here. That's for the bearings, the roller bearings that you already packed. Squirt that full also. It'll keep it greased really well. I'm guessing that's where you should probably be doing your maintenance greasing occasionally on those areas. I haven't got directions for it. I contacted DNA. They said they didn't. Well, they told me they had some and they'd send it to me, email it, but they haven't yet. I couldn't wait around and wait for them. Now the other thing is inside, let me find it here so I can show it to you. Inside there, through these little splines here, you'll look in here and there is another greaser. Now that's the one that actually fills the gear lube area. So you want to pack that through too. So once you get it all put together and got all these bolts in, it's ready to go ahead and put on. Now the swing arm that I got was not painted, so I took the swing arm outside and I wiped it down good with mineral spirits, and I primed it, and I used Rust-Oleum Shiny Black on it, and as you can see, it really did turn out nicely. I let it set overnight after a couple, 2 or 3 coats of black, and it really does look like it was as good as what the axle came with. I'm really happy with that. Now another part that comes with this, as you see on the back, that's the part that connects the axle to the swing arm. And to do that, you got these 2 items here. Now these items didn't come painted either, and I was trying to figure it out at first. I'd already put it together on the axle, around the swing arm, just to see how it went. And I couldn't figure out what this bolt here was. And there's a longer bolt that goes in it, and it's threaded. But I couldn't figure out what that one was. So after looking on YouTube at a couple of people that were actually building one, they didn't explain very much, but I was able to stop the frame and take a look. This, on both sides, is what's going to push the swing arm back to tighten your belt. So that part I've got figured out. Again, I painted these and really did turn out nicely. I'm very happy with those 2. So they're ready to go also. So now I've actually attached the swing arm with the bolts. And on mine with an 04 it says 70 foot-pounds. I torqued it to 70 foot-pounds, and I've got it on these jack stands just to kind of hold it up and fairly level. I think it might make everything else a little bit easier. Anyway, there's one of these on both sides, so that's what I did with that.